The other day I discovered the Fallout TV series while trying to find something fun for the whole family to watch. We all loved it and watched the whole series in one weekend. The concept of all the vaults is so interesting, and I hope they go deeper into it in the second season. So as a nerd, you go and do some research, and I came across this comic strip series written by Jerry Holkins and drawn by Mike Krahulik. It's about Vault 77, a man with just puppets, and it also mentions Vaults 43 and 69. I love this art style, so decided to make it the topic of this video. Cartoony figures with super cool moody lighting and backgrounds. And the figures are pretty consistent. Mouths always seen from the side, even when the head is facing front. Cartoony loose hands with 4 fingers on each hand, like the Pip-Boy logo. Short legs, big heads, almost kind of a European style, I feel. So the story of Vault 69 only gets one panel, a man in a vault with 999 women. Such an interesting setup. As a guy, your first idea is how it must be paradise for him, like when grunge is held captive in an all-female group in that Gen 13 issue. So let's make some Vault 69 fan art. Just practicing the style on this ghoul, but for today let's focus on those backgrounds, which is a big reason why I love this guy's style so much. With just a few lines and color gradients, he creates that Fallout vault feeling in a really cool way. When you recreate a style, it's all about dissecting it into elements that reoccur. And for these backgrounds, I'd say it is the simple shapes, edge glows, fades, and blurred backgrounds. So let's make a panel for each of those. I also just saw Mad Max Fury Road again, which reminded me of how cool the look of that movie is, so mixing that in. Okay, 999 women means every type of woman is represented, but there's only one guy. And if he's some kind of Mad Max Tom Hardy alpha male, he will probably end up like that future Gambit that Bishop meets from the 90s X-Men. On a throne with some babes around him, creating a social structure with him alone at the top, and the 999 in a continuous battle to be his favorite. Then of course, as babies are born, some new men arrive on the scene, and pretty soon it's a battle between the sons for ultimate rule and throne succession. And then, like most vaults, it leads to the opening of the hatch, and then it's all over, bye-bye vault. And even in the beginning, I think the novelty of the situation will wear off pretty soon, so he's just zoning out on his throne. Except for the women, they can't be phoning it in, because there'll be more than 900 others ready to take over. Okay, so drawing him in the largest room of the vault, with some of that moody top light. The polygon tool works great as a perspective grid, very quick. And not so much of the light is seen in the panel, so just eyeballing the width of them. Sitting on his Tony Montana #1 chair. There's a few ways to create that light effect in Photoshop. So first outlining that white light, and then on a different layer now I'm tracing the edge with a yellow soft edge stroke. Lower the fill of that layer, then blur the original white shapes. I'll copy the pattern of that background, just a line with dots. Also add a blur. Maybe some moody shadows on a mask layer. Just dropping the shadows in black and then lowering the fill of that layer. And here he is, bored Mad Max. Okay, that was that typical top light, so let's do the simple background. And in this case, the main guy is not an alpha male, but a nerd who probably falls in love with one of the women, who then gets to be queen. And if they have offspring, it becomes that Oliver Stone Alexander movie, the queen manipulating everything through her son. And soon it's bye-bye dad, some kind of revolt, open the hatch, and again bye-bye Vault 69. So in this panel, going for a strong woman dominating the lonely guy, and she's probably making access to him very difficult for the others with some kind of clever ruse, like a disease or something. Other women trying to give him cookies or soft towels, but Angelina Jolie stopping them each time. For the background, the lines he uses are very straight, but not parallel, which gives it a nice loose feeling. And that Star Wars TIE Fighter pattern looks cool, so let's use that. Add some top light like before. Always blur the background shapes. Add a shadow with a lowered fill, and boom! Feverishly restricting the access to her man. Do I smell cookies? Come on, dude. The other cool thing about the backgrounds is the fades and blurs, which are very quick to make. And that ghoul worked out nicely, so let's do a panel in daylight and one at night. Just make a simple background shape, maybe a skeleton of a building. Background fade on a separate layer, white clouds also on another layer. Blur the horizon, and I like how it looks sandy in this panel and the colors are kind of unsaturated. So lowering the saturation, but not too much, because over that I can go over it again with a large soft brush. Yeah, many layers in this, so why not one more? Reduce the fill, some ground dust to hide the boots so it doesn't look like a cardboard cutout. A bit more texture to the clouds, and boom! Okay, now the hard one, the night scene. How about some stones in the front with a fire inside? And for the horizon, some quick trees. Blur. Dust clouds. And it's always fun to play with the hue to find colors I would never have thought of using. Like hitting on this purple sky here. Make it a bit darker. And I usually use Gaussian blur for the backgrounds, but on this one I tried some motion blur, and look how cool that fire instantly looks. Another technique where you can get happy little accidents is adding some color on a mask layer and then scrolling through the blending modes. And a recent favorite of mine is a color burn. Okay, now for the lighting on the ghoul I have this tip. So duplicate the layer and make one a very highly saturated one and the other one very dark. Put the dark layer over the highly saturated one and then start erasing parts with a soft eraser where the light would hit. So it reveals the high contrast one below and is a very quick way to create that lighting effect. Then I grouped those and added some mask layers over that group. One light one for the right side and one dark one for the left side. Again playing with the blending options for some cool effects. I felt like the outline on the left was not visible anymore, so added another layer and started with purple, but then accidentally scrolled through divide, which turned it green, and it looked really nice. So yeah, here we go. Lots of fun. If only Jerry Holkins wrote some Vault 69 comics and let me draw them. Dream job. But my favorite one from this group is this one, the ghoul. Yeah, drop a like if you like this one too. There's another video where I use the blurred background style, but NSFW heads up though. Thanks for watching and see you next time.